Oh, whoops. Forgot to hit record. Hit record, you idiot. Hey, what's up guys? My name is JD from JDTechGear and welcome back to the channel. Today we have something pretty exciting. We're doing another PC build on the channel. This time with a little bit more of a budget. The last one was about $1,300 with the Ryzen 1700 and the GTX 1070 and the Gigabyte AX370 gaming motherboard. And that one was a little bit more or a little bit less of a budget than this one. This one's going to be under $1,000, right at about $926 or something like that. But you can definitely tweak some of these options and still make a very decent PC for under $1,000, maybe around the $800 price mark. If you can get it down to that, that would be awesome, because a lot of things are pretty high in price right now with the shortage of flash memory. That goes for GPUs, SSDs, and RAM. So all that together is going up in price. So if you can find good deals on all these other products, you can pretty much get a PC, a pretty good PC, for under $900 or even $1,000, and I think that's still a pretty good deal. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a guide, and we're going to be discussing the parts that I chose and why I chose them, to kind of give you guys some sort of consideration in case you want to do some sort of upgrading or maybe even do your own build. So if you're looking to that sort of thing, hopefully this can help you out, but let's get into the rest of the video. So powering this build, we're going to have the Ryzen 1400, which is clocked at 3.2 gigahertz with a boost clock up to 3.4. It has 4 cores and 8 threads, and this is a great budget CPU and definitely one that I want to benchmark. So I've heard a lot of success about this specific CPU overclocking to about 4 gigahertz, I think. So that's pretty cool, and I want to definitely try and do that, especially with the motherboard that we got here. And the Ryzen 1400 at 4 gigahertz will play games pretty well, and even if it's not a 4 gigahertz, it's still a solid option and a great entry-level CPU for also video editing and also gaming. Of course, it's not going to be as well optimized as Intel chips, obviously, but it usually retails for around $170 or $160. But I was able to get this one for about $136 on jet.com. So look around, wait for some price drops, and see if you can get any discounts at jet.com or potentially other retailers to get this at the price that I did. Now, what do I want to move on to next? Oh yes, I will go on. Crap. Luckily that was just the RGB LEDs, because we don't have enough of those. And the next thing we have cooling our CPU is the FSP Windhail 4. Now this has the cooling potential of the Hyper 212 Evo from Cooler Master. And the thing is, it's in the same price bracket, has 4 heat pipes, which is pretty cool. A pretty silent fan from what I've read in one of the reviews. And also it's in the same price bracket as the Hyper 212 Evo. And also it supports AM4 motherboards right out of the box. So I'm really excited for that. Really can't wait to try that out. FSP sent that over to me and I can't wait to review it and see what kind of value it brings to the table. Now, what else should we move on to? I don't know what order to go into. I'm kind of just like, well, I don't know. What's important? What kind of tier? I'm just going to stop. I'm going to get my RGBs. So for the motherboard, we went with the Asus ROG Strix B350F gaming motherboard. As if that's not a long enough name. But the B350F motherboard from Asus. Now the Strix brand is pretty pricey, and it usually is, but this one I was able to get for $104, and I think its MSRP is around $150. Now at some retailers this is actually at a $90 or $94 price mark with a mail-in rebate, but I don't feel like dealing with rebates, and I just wanted to get the price that it was listed at for what it's listed at, and not have to wait 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 10 weeks to get the mail-in rebate. So I think this board is a relatively good board. I haven't used it, and there's not a lot of reviews on it, but I think Paul's Hardware may have skimmed over the features of this board and what kind of value it brings to the table as well. But anyways, it's got a slight RGB strip over the chipset heatsink, so it's got that little RGB strip. Other than that, it's mostly monochromatic, which I like, so I'll be able to use this in many different builds. And also for you guys, recommending monochromatic board is probably better because it can suit a lot more builds than something that is more color specific. But anyways, it's supposed to have supposedly pretty good overclocking as well for the RAM or the DIMM slots as well. So I'm excited for this and can't wait to try it out. I'll be making a review on this as well in case you guys want to see that. Now for the gaming aspect of things, we have the GTX 1060 from Gigabyte, the OC version that is, because the other version wasn't too good. I've read a couple of reviews, well, a lot of reviews, and they said there was a lot of coil whine, overheated a lot, and just wasn't good for the value. And this is a 6GB card, and the OC is definitely a step up from the regular version, or the non-OC version. And the fact that I found this at $275 makes me very excited. Now this thing goes in and out of stock all the time, but I was able to snag one of these for, I don't know, I think it was in stock for like 5 minutes, and I just refreshed the page and I was like, oh hey, look, a GTX 1060, $275, sold, I'm gonna get that. So I did, and I can't wait to try it out. So that's definitely a good buy right there. I would not recommend buying a GTX 1060 for over $300 for the 6GB versions. If you're thinking about it, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just wait, because it's not worth it. But we're gonna see what kind of FPS we can get out of that, coupled with the Ryzen 1400. So that's exciting. It's also got a backplate. It looks pretty good, mostly monochromatic, some orange accents. So overall, not a bad deal. Anyways, powering this build, we have the EVGA 550 watt bronze B3, I believe, power supply. Now this is a fully modular power supply, and it's about $60. Now you can definitely go with a cheaper alternative with a fully modular alternative and possibly save yourself about $20 or $30 depending on mail-in rebates or what kind of deals you can find at the time. But for $60 for a fully modular PSU and also fully sleeved cables is really nice, and EVGA makes great power supplies, and 550 is plenty for this build. So I'm really excited for that. It should do its job pretty well. And it's also got an eco fan mode, which puts the fan on silent or turns it off until it's actually really needed. So yeah, that's pretty good. And originally I was gonna go with the FSP Dagger 500 watt power supply that FSP sent in to me, but I want to say that for a video for itself because it's a pretty unique power supply, one I've never seen like before, and it can fit in the palm of my hands. Now it's a $95 power supply, probably because of the form factor that it's in, because I believe it goes into mini ITX cases. So I don't know the exact specifics because I'm not reading the specs right now, and so I think that's what makes it more expensive, and it's also fully modular, and it's pretty cool. So I think that deserves a video of its own, and I want to test that out. For storage, we have the Kingston 120GB SSD, which I'll be putting Windows 10 on and using as my boot drive. And then I'll be having the 2TB Western Digital Blue hard drive as my mass storage for games and other things as well. So you can go with either option for what you want to use for storage in case you want a boot drive or you don't. I always recommend having something separate just to keep the operating system safe from any potential viruses or malware that you may incur over the time that you have your PC. So keep that on a different drive. That's what I always do. But you don't need that, and if you don't want the boot times of the SSD and you can live with just having the boot times from a hard drive, then you can definitely just go with the hard drive and save yourself some bucks. The SSD was about $54 and the Western Digital 2TB hard drive was about $68 or $70, somewhere around there. Both good buys though, especially since that flash memory is going up. $54 for 120 gigabytes right now is what I would pay for 120 gigabytes. Try not to go over that. I would strongly advise against that. So that's your storage options. There's plenty of configurations that you can do to save a couple of dollars there, but that's what I'm using for this build. For the memory, we are using the Leo Rice 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RGB RAM that Asgard sent over to me. It has RGB lights in it, and it's also gray on the heat sinks, so it kind of matches the monochromatic theme, and also a little bit of the RGB to match the Asus chipset RGB light strip. So that kind of matches with that, and it keeps the RGB to a minimum. I'm keeping this mostly monochromatic just so it can appeal to a lot more people, because I know not everyone likes RGB, but I do know quite a deal of people that do like it, including myself, because, you know, unicorn vomit looks great in PCs, what can I say? And the last thing to house all these components is the Raid Max Sigma case. Now this is a mid-tower ATX case with plenty and plenty of quality. I don't know where I was going with that. It has a tempered glass side window panel, and they have aluminum accents on them with also dust filters on them. the top does not have a dust filter on it. So it's gonna be good air ventilation. It's also pretty roomy inside. You can do some good water cooling in there and all sorts of different things and options that you want. So I think this is gonna be a really good case to work with, and I'm also gonna be reviewing that as well. Oh, can't forget the RGBs now, can we? Look at this bad boy. We got 2 RGB LED strips, but I don't know if I want to put that in there. I might want to just keep it on white, like a white LED RGB strip. That doesn't make any sense, just white LED strip, just to add some ambiance inside. And also we have these iGo case fans, these ring case fans. I looked them up, they're new on the market, and I'm excited to see what they're capable of. I'm always trying out new PC case fans to see what they're capable of and what kind of bargains we can find on the market, because these are relatively silent. They're pretty bright and they look cool. So I'm pretty excited for this. I'll add a lot of nice ambiance to the inside of the case and show it off pretty well inside that tempered glass side window panel. With this build is relatively in a budget, but also aesthetic as well. So you can definitely cut corners on here if you don't want the aesthetics and you just want something working and functioning purely. You don't need the 16 gigs of RAM. You don't need these RGB lights. You do need case fans though, and these are pretty cheap too. So if you're going for some sort of alternative, these are about $15 to $17 for a 2-pack of these. So definitely not a bad price at all. But again, I need to review them, fully check them out before I would recommend them. But I have plugged them into the PSU just to hear what they sound like at full blast, and they moved a good amount of air on my hand and felt relatively cool for the ambient temperature around me, and also they were relatively silent, so I was happy with that, really happy with that. But all in all, this is the guide that I'm going with for the build called Iron Winter. Yeah, is that a cool name? I don't know if it's not. But anyways, the monochromatic theme across kind of goes with the iron look, and then the white from the case and the fans give off that wintry vibe, the snow vibe. So it's just going to be Iron Winter. So I'm excited to see how that comes together, and we're going to build that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video / guide, and hopefully it can help make you some purchase decisions in case you're thinking about upgrading, or just what my personal recommendation is, or just building a new PC on your own. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it helpful, and I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Come on, reach it.